There is a country that most Americans see only through headlines: sanctions, nuclear tensions, isolation. But 2,500 years ago, this same land was the most powerful empire on Earth. It controlled the trade routes between Europe and Asia. It invented one of the first international currencies. It commanded armies that stretched from Greece to India, the Persian Empire. Today, Iran is one of the most heavily sanctioned nations in the world, cut off from global banking, blocked from international trade, operating a shadow economy just to survive. How does a civilization that once controlled the wealth of the known world end up here? This is the story of empires, of oil, of coups, and of how geography and resources can make or destroy a nation. 550 BC, a Persian king named Cyrus begins a conquest that will reshape the ancient world. Babylon falls, Media falls, Lydia falls. Within a single generation, Cyrus the Great has unified dozens of independent kingdoms into a single empire. But Cyrus does something most conquerors do not. He does not destroy. He integrates. Local laws remain. Local religions remain. Local economies remain. What changes is the system above them. Under his successor, Darius the Great, the empire becomes an economic superpower. Darius constructs the Royal Road, 1,500 miles of paved highway connecting the empire's western edge in modern Turkey to its eastern capital in Persia. Before the Royal Road, a message from the frontier to the capital took 3 months. After 7 days. This is not just infrastructure. This is power, control of information, control of logistics, control of trade. For the first time in history, the resources of Central Asia, Mesopotamia, and Eastern Europe are unified under a single economic network. The Persian Empire becomes the ancient world's first geopolitical superpower, not just through conquest, through administration. Darius understands something fundamental. Empires are not built on swords alone. They are built on money. He introduces a standardized currency system, the daric, a gold coin containing 8.4 grams of highly purified gold. The siglos, a silver coin used for smaller transactions. These coins become the first widely accepted international currency. Merchants in Athens accept the same coin as merchants in Bactria. For the first time, trade flows freely across thousands of miles. But currency alone is not enough. Darius divides the empire into provinces, satrapies. Each province must pay a strictly calculated annual tax: silver, gold, horses, grain. The wealth flows into the royal treasuries at Persepolis and Susa, an unprecedented accumulation of gold and silver bullion. This gives the Persian kings a weapon more powerful than armies: economic leverage. When Greek city-states resist Persian expansion, Darius does not always send soldiers. He sends gold, bribes, mercenaries, political influence. He buys what he cannot conquer. This is the birth of economic warfare, and it works. 334 BC, a young Macedonian king named Alexander crosses into Asia. He defeats the Persian army at the Granicus River, at Issus, at Gaugamela. By 330 BC, Persepolis falls. Alexander loots the royal treasury, 120,000 talents of gold and silver. So much wealth that it requires 10,000 mule carts and 5,000 camels to carry it away. He mints this hoarded bullion into coins, floods the Mediterranean economy with cash. The result? A massive economic boom across the Greek world. Also, inflation. The sudden injection of Persian wealth into circulation destabilizes prices for decades. But Persia does not disappear. After Alexander's death, the Parthian dynasty rises, then the Sassanid dynasty, and they reclaim what was lost, not through conquest, through geography. Persia sits at the center of the Silk Road, the only reliable route between the Roman Empire and Han Dynasty China. Silk flows west, gold flows east, and Persia taxes everything in between. For centuries, Persian kings grow rich not by producing goods, but by controlling the routes those goods travel, until 651 AD, when the Arab Islamic conquest shifts the center of power away from Persia entirely. The age of empires ends. 1901. A British businessman named William Knox Darcy secures a concession from the King of Iran, the right to search for oil across an area larger than Texas. The price, £20,000 in cash, and a 16% share of future profits. The king of Iran needs money. His lifestyle is expensive. He does not believe there is oil worth finding. He is wrong. 1908. Masjid Suleiman, the first major Middle Eastern oil strike, the largest oil field discovered anywhere in the world at that time. Darcy's company becomes the Anglo-Persian Oil Company. Later, British Petroleum, BP, 1914. Winston Churchill makes a decision that will reshape the British Empire. He converts the entire Royal Navy from coal to oil. The British government buys a controlling stake in the Anglo-Persian Oil Company. Iranian oil becomes a matter of national security. During World War I, Iranian oil fuels British warships. During World War II, the same. The economic arrangement is heavily skewed. By the late 1940s, the Anglo-Persian Oil Company is paying more in taxes to the British government than it pays in royalties to Iran. Iran sits on one of the largest oil reserves on Earth, and yet it remains poor. 1951. Iran elects a prime minister who changes everything. Mohammad Mossadegh. His platform is simple: nationalize Iranian oil. He argues that Iran's resources should benefit Iran's people, not foreign corporations. The Iranian parliament votes to seize the assets of the Anglo-Persian Oil Company. Britain's response is immediate. Economic warfare. Britain freezes Iranian funds, organizes a global boycott of Iranian crude, enforces a naval blockade. Iran's oil exports collapse from 25 million tons in 1950 to virtually zero. The Iranian economy enters free fall. Britain appeals to the United States, argues that Mossadegh is unstable, that he might align with the Soviet Union. 1953. The CIA and British intelligence execute Operation Ajax, a covert operation to overthrow the democratically elected Prime Minister of Iran. The coup succeeds. Mossadegh is arrested. The Shah, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, is restored to power. Iranian oil is placed under an international consortium. Iran receives a 50-50 profit split, but Western companies retain operational control. The coup solidifies U.S. influence in the Middle East. It ensures cheap, uninterrupted access to Iranian oil during the Cold War. But it also does something else. It permanently destroys Iranian trust in Western democracy. The Shah uses oil revenue to modernize Iran. Land reforms, infrastructure projects, military expansion. He calls it the White Revolution, 1973. The Arab oil embargo triggers a global energy crisis. Oil prices quadruple. Iran's annual oil revenue jumps from $4 billion to $20 billion overnight. The Shah has more money than he knows what to do with. He invests in fighter jets, tanks, nuclear energy programs, but he also invests in image. 1971, the Shah throws a party. Not just any party, a celebration of the 2500th anniversary of the Persian Empire. At Persepolis, the ancient capital, he imports 50,000 songbirds from Europe, Baccarat crystal, Parisian catering from Maxim's. Maxim's, the most famous restaurant in France, shuts down for 2 weeks just to prepare the food. The estimated cost? $100 million for a party, while millions of Iranians live in poverty. The optics are catastrophic. The Shah wants to project old money legitimacy. What he projects instead is disconnect, arrogance, a ruler more interested in European luxury than Iranian citizens. The sudden influx of oil money causes inflation. The gap between the ultra-rich elite in Tehran and the rural poor widens. Discontent grows. 1978. Mass protests sweep across Iran. Students, workers, religious leaders. They demand the end of the monarchy. January 1979, the Shah flees Iran. February, Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, exiled for 15 years, returns. He is greeted by millions. The monarchy collapses. Iran becomes an Islamic Republic. The revolution triggers one of the largest transfers of wealth in modern history. The new government seizes the assets of the royal family and the top 50 industrialist families. Billions in private capital flee to the United States and Europe. Between $30 and $40 billion leaves the country. Domestic industries are placed under the control of bonyads, religious foundations answerable only to the supreme leader. The revolution removes a critical U.S. ally. It triggers a second global oil shock. Long lines at American gas stations, and it births a fiercely anti-Western theocracy that fundamentally alters the balance of power in the Middle East. November 1979. Iranian students stormed the U.S. Embassy in Tehran. 52 Americans held hostage for 444 days. The United States responds with sanctions. Decades of escalating isolation follow. Iran develops a nuclear program. The West fears nuclear weapons. More sanctions. 2015. The Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, the Nuclear Deal. A temporary thaw. 2018. The United States withdraws from the agreement. Sanctions return, harsher than before. Iran is cut off from the SWIFT global banking system. The value of the Iranian rial collapses. Billions of dollars in foreign currency reserves are frozen. To survive, Iran develops what it calls a resistance economy. A massive portion of the nation's wealth is now controlled by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. The IRGC, not just a military, an economic conglomerate. Telecommunications. Construction. Smuggling. The IRGC controls an estimated one-third of Iran's economy. To bypass sanctions, Iran operates a ghost fleet. Hundreds of oil tankers that turn off their tracking transponders. They sell millions of barrels of crude oil in secret, primarily to independent refineries in Asia. Iran funds proxy militias across the region. Hezbollah, the Houthis, using untraceable funds, impacting global shipping lanes. Regional stability. Into 2026. From Cyrus the Great to Ayatollah Khomeini, from the royal road to the ghost fleet. Iran's story is one of transformation. A civilization that once controlled the wealth of the known world now operates in the shadows of the global economy. Geography gave Iran power. Resources gave it wealth. Foreign intervention took both away. And political decisions, both internal and external, reshaped its destiny. The Persian Empire fell because it could not adapt. Modern Iran survives because it learned how to endure. But the question remains, can a nation isolated from the world ever reclaim the power it once held, or is isolation itself the new empire?